listening to the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast.
Hi, everybody. It's the Pittsburgh Piledriver Podcast. We're going to record some potting things with Poddingtons and Paddingtons. Oh, Paddington Bear. Who needs a honey sandwich? What are we talking about? Oh, yeah. The Royal Rumble happened. We have Rumble talk to talk about. WrestleMania's on the horizon. Elimination Chamber's on the horizon. It's WrestleMania season. Beef's favorite time of year when it comes to wrestling. So we got a lot to unpack. I've seen a lot of things on social media about the Royal Rumble. Some good, some surprisingly bad. So I want to talk about that with these guys because I'm wondering where all of these negative feelings that I'm seeing on social media are coming from as it pertains to one of the Royal Rumbles. But let's unpack. Let's get in. Let's do the thing. We've got Tiger Bomb Tom. We've got McDummy Face here. Hi. Poot the Bard will be along whenever he pulls himself away from whatever jackass thing he's doing. And we've got, so far, the reigning, defending, undisputed, I will hear no bits or buts about it, Cruiserweight champ. That's right. He's your best friend. He's my best friend. And if he's not your best friend, you're living life wrong. I mean, basically, there are no wrong answers. Well, that's a wrong answer. You're living your life wrong if this man's not your very best friend. He's our Cruiserweight champion. He's Beef the Legend. So, I suppose we got to talk about the Royal Rumble because the Royal Rumble happened. We watched it. We had two Royal Rumbles. We had a men's and a women's. I think we need to talk about each one of them because there were some pretty awesome things, I think, personally, that went down at this Royal Rumble. So I'll leave with you guys. Where you guys want to start off with? You want to start off with the men's or you want to start off with the women's?
How about the standings?
Let's not start out with anything that Ransom said. Okay.
It was sensational.
Hey, guys, pick A or B. Oh, C.
There's always option
Here's how
C.
this works.
Austin.
Here's how this works, Austin Aries. We don't throw out the standings at the beginning of the podcast. We make them listen to the podcast so they hear the standings. And here's a hint. It's not going to be at the end either. I'm going to throw it in, I don't know, somewhere in the middle. So you better listen, otherwise you're not going to hear it. Don't be bugging me saying, where do I stand? It doesn't matter. Because all that matters is one's up for the tribal beef. It was a sensational night of wrestling. Thank you for a wonderful intro, by the way, Ransom. You're the best. It was a wonderful night of wrestling. I think the tag team match could have used an extra coat of paint or two, but I don't think that story's finished. So I'm gonna give it a pass for now.
Oh.
I want to start with the ladder match. Because
option D. God damn it! Why do I even bother?
No,
all right, guys, you want to start with the women's or the men's? Let's start with standings. Nope, we're not going to do that. Let's start with ladder match. God.
I think it bears talking about them because I think we're going to get head deep into the rumbles.
Okay.
And I don't want this to get lost. The fact that this was Cody's best match since WrestleMania. Kevin Owens' best match for maybe ever? Question mark?
Oh, wow.
On it as a WWE contracted talent.
All right.
And one of the better ladder matches I've seen in the last decade.
Honestly, one of the best ladder matches, in a long time. And Cody's best of his title reign for sure, hands down.
Like there were a couple big spots, but nothing like what we're used to seeing. It was kind of methodical, but it had enough spots to make you go, "Fuck!" Like when Kevin Owens took the backdrop onto the open ladder, but the hard part of the ladder.
Oh God!
Man,
that hurt. That hurt watching. Oh my God!
the ending of the match obviously was sensational. And again, like, I don't want to belabor the fact Ransom 100% right. Like, both these Rumbles, I think, bear a lot of talking. I just want to, give, and for what the fuck it's worth, like, no one's of worth is going to hear this podcast. No offense, our listeners, I value you all, but you know what I mean.
But
like,
you're worthless.
Cody or Kevin is not going to hear this podcast and go, hey, you know what? I'm so glad that these fucking jamokes out of fucking, the suburbs of Pittsburgh think that we're great. But like, it was a sensational ladder match. And again, I cannot overstate. It's up there with the Bucks and the Lucha Bros as like the best ladder match I've seen in the last 15 years, probably. So, kudos to those two. I don't know if you boys have more you want to discuss. Oh, the one thing I'll mention, sensational. Kevin Owens selling that last spot, laying there for like 5 minutes or so.
Yep.
And then whenever they bring him out of it, his head is fucking redder than a strawberry because all the fucking blood's been rushing to his head. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, look at his face. He's so, like, man, just fucking Kevin Owens fucking gets it like very few do, man. And I think it's a fucking crime that he hasn't had a world title that wasn't the Universal title, ending in Goldberg just squashing him.
So
I agree.
I think the reason why this ladder match, like, it felt like more of a fight than a ladder match itself, like a typical ladder match. Like, there was still the the overall goal of like, oh, I got to make it up this ladder to get the titles or whatever. But it felt more like a fight, like more importance on, I'm going to beat the shit out of you, and then maybe I'll think about climbing the ladder. I think that was the difference with this particular match, as compared to other ladder matches. But man, I like that you saw that next level, that next layer from Cody, like that viciousness, when he's slamming his head. Yeah, that, it's fine. It's probably fine.
Vishnu.
Yeah, Veer is coming. Veer is coming to the Rumble 2026, confirmed. So, towards the end, whenever Cody is slamming KO's head off the announce table, and we said, you wanted this, or whatever. It, like, just seeing those extra little layers, and so many of those spots where I went, oh my god, like, audibly out loud. like Beef mentioned, the one spot where KO gets dropped on, backdropped onto the hard edge of the ladder while it's semi open. The one where I don't even know what you call it necessarily, but you know what I'm talking about. Like, whenever KO always does like that kind of like twisting fisherman buster off the top, when he did when he did that through the ladder, and like you kind of saw him, like, his head kind of hit the edge of it. I was like, oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that spot there, I was like, oh my god, he's dead. Like, not even Cody, I'm like, oh my god, KO's dead. And even compared to the very last spot, that last spot, he took it perfectly, and then it just kind of, rolled back over and just stayed there. And god, like, that's what you're supposed to do at the end of the match. Like, you just went through hell, and you got backdropped through a ladder, off the announce table or whatever, and it's the end of the match. That's what you're supposed to do. Lay there and sell the shit out of it, man. Like, fucking make me believe it that you've just been through a war, and he did exactly just that.
When he folded up and he just stayed there,
yes,
but I think like as it went along, Ransom's reaction to it was just like, it got funnier and funnier, because like it came in waves. It was like, oh man, what a sell, what a spot. And they're like, wait, is Kevin Owens actually okay? Is he fine? And then when we realized they wouldn't keep panning to him if he wasn't fine, we're like, that's so great. Like, it's the reason that, and the statement that was made about this being Cody's best title match, like during his reign, it's It's a no-brainer. It's Kevin Owens, for God's sake. Like, it's KO, for God's sake.
Right.
You know what I mean? Of course KO is going to give him his best match. Like, Kevin Owens is up there in the pantheon of people that could wrestle a broomstick and it would be interesting. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, he can make anyone look good and play to anyone's strengths and make anybody look like $10 million. It just is what it is. And it's incredible.
I'm hoping, because, he's getting high praise. Again, no fucking surprise if you watch Kevin Owens' career at any level, like, fucking duh. But, like, he's in the best shape of his life right now. He wore long tights for the first time that I can remember, which was, a good look for him. Like, he's done a lot to better himself. He has, like, the indie killer moveset, bits and pieces of it still, that he breaks out for big spots, and I think that that's a great thing to do. But he's also wrestling a smarter. Bottom line is, he's getting high praise from everybody, and I'm hoping, especially now that Triple H is in charge, I'm hoping that, like, we get an honest to God Kevin Owens title reign. It doesn't have to be a year, like, but just give me a title reign with the actual WWE title. Hell, I would even settle for the world title at this point, as long as it's not the fucking, red ass Universal title that does not end at the fucking hands of Goldberg squash. Like, give me something that has some substance and a good beginning and a good ending. I think that would be incredible. This is just me fantasy booking a little bit, would love to see him be the guy to take the belt off of Cena. After Cena gets number 17, kind of completing, the Kevin Owens, John Cena story from eons ago, except for have the right guy go over this time and have him beat Cena for the strap. I think that would be an incredible way for Cena to kind of put the right guy over on his way out.
Hell yeah. I'm here for that.
Ransom, thoughts on the ladder match before we jump into the Rumbles?
All right. So this ladder match got me interested in Cody again. I've been pretty bored on Cody. I don't think.
Oh, sorry.
I don't think there's. Excuse me. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with Cody. But I think he reminded me kind of like. He reminded me a little bit of Cena. Whenever we were in the Cena, like, please go away. Please stop wrestling Randy Orton for the title. Like that phase of Cena, like there wasn't anything wrong with Cena in the ring. There wasn't anything wrong with Cena's promos. It's just I was bored with him. And I watched this match and I wasn't bored with Cody. I would love for them to do something with Cody, like turn him heel. I think that would give him a new coat of paint. And I think he needs it, honestly. I think he needs a new coat of paint. Like, I feel like we're going down a path of like, yay, Cody. All right, Cody. And, like, it'll eventually get to the point where I don't know that he'll get booed like Cena. Like, I don't think he'll get, like, go away heat. But, I don't know. I don't want him to continue down a path to where it's audibly recognizable that people are cooling off on him. Like, I don't want it to get to that point with him. But I thought he was great in this match. No shock again about Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens reminds me a lot of Triple H. Because even when Triple H was actively fully wrestling, not involved in any sort of backstage roles, but when he was just strictly wrestling, you could tell that he understood. Like, he understood the entire picture. The things that he would do, the faces he would make, how he would sell. It's clear that he got it. And I don't think it's just a gimmick when, he said he's a student of the game. Because I believe it. I think Triple H studied the art of wrestling, and it's clear that he got it. And I think Kevin Owens is that way as well. He understands, Kevin, you can tell Kevin Owens gets it. He could have taken that bump and been like, all right, Cody gets the belt, now I fall over. And it's like, oh, no, I'm hurt. But he understood the impact that it would make, showing him crumpled, bent over, upside down for a prolonged period of time. This guy has a brain for the business. And I see a lot of Triple H in the knowledge in him. And I would love to see him take a belt at SummerSlam. If they get it on Cena before SummerSlam, I would love to see him take it off of Cena in SummerSlam, carry it through the fall and the winter, and have a nice big WrestleMania match with the title. Kevin Owens is definitely one of those guys that you want to keep. I don't know. I would question any decision making if someone was like, all right, we're going to let Kevin Owens' contract expire. And, he took a little bit of a higher bid to go here, and we're not going to fight for him. There are a number of talent that could leave WWE, and I would go, man, they really shouldn't let that one get away. But it is what it is. But Kevin Owens is one of those people. Kevin Owens is one of those people where it's if WWE let him go or didn't keep a hold of him, I'd be like, all right, I don't know what you guys are doing. Because the man clearly gets it. He puts on incredible promos. He's a marvel, honestly, to watch in the ring. Some of the things that he does for the size that he is, man, it's amazing. His moveset and how unique it is and how it's not boring. Kevin Owens, you can say whatever you want about Kevin Owens. When you watch a Kevin Owens match, you can definitely go, oh, that's not boring. So phenomenal. One of the best ladder matches I've seen in a long time. And I loved, like Tom said, how it was a fight ladder match. It wasn't a flippy-do ladder match. And I think we're so accustomed to that anymore because you see younger, smaller, more high-flying guys in ladder matches these days. You don't see the guys that were the size of Razor Ramon whenever him and Shawn had his ladder match. This wasn't a crazy spot fest, ladders flying everywhere, people jumping off of ropes onto ladders, back onto ropes, flipping back onto the ladder. It was a fight, but with ladders. And they had ladder spots that were impactful and meant something. Not to say that, the high-flying ladder matches don't. I think they're very entertaining. But, this one was unique because it didn't have all of those high-flying spots. It was the ladders were used in a very creative way that I think worked best for both of these guys.
If I may interject for a second, the mini ladder wins MVP of that match.
Oh yeah.
Go on.
Mini ladder was such a cool call.
I think that, Tom said it best. I think it was a fight that also involved ladders. And I think that's why it was successful. Even though it was billed as a ladder match, we knew it was going to be a fight. Yeah, I mean, and again, in a show, whenever you know that the Rumbles are going to be the go-to, everybody's going to be talking about it, to come away from that having people, chatting about your match, I think is a huge success. So,
Yeah.
and I couldn't be more in line with your Ransom. Cody Rhodes bored the fuck out of me for no fault of his own, but I knew that AJ wasn't gonna beat him. I knew that Solo wasn't gonna beat him.
Nope.
There was never any threat there until until we finally got to Kevin Owens, and I'm like, there's a chance. I knew it was a slim chance, but I was like, there's a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that they built it up, and Kevin Owens basically took a title that was manufactured for Cody for a one-time deal, and was like, "Watch me make this, the second most important title in WWE." Boom. So I mean, again, and I mean, to nobody's shock, like Cody's great. We know that Cody's great. He just has not been set up for success. Kevin Owens is, I think, one of the greatest of our time. I think a lot of people will talk about Danielson with good reason, Punk with good reason, Joe with good reason. I think that Kevin Owens flies under that radar a little bit, and I, want him to get his just desserts, as it is said.
Dessert.
Plus, he's got a badass fucking T-Rex skull on his arm. So big ups to him on that. Yeah.
I would say with his tattoos, there's an episode on WWE's YouTube about Kevin Owens' tattoos. Like, he talks about all of his tattoos and everything like that. So it's a good watch.
Yeah, man. I like a good tattoo story. I also like a good Rumble story. Let's start with the women's, if everybody's agreeable to that. I think that's gonna be, cause I was like ending up in a positive place, I think it's okay for us to, and I think it's fair to give the negative with the positive, but at the end of the day, I always like things on the upswing as we kind of close out. And in the show, we're probably going to be talking a lot about Royal Rumbles. I think that ending with the more positive Royal Rumble, I think, is apropos. So, what do we think about the Women's Royal Rumble?
I personally, I thought that the women, they always deliver in these Rumbles. I like Beef obviously has a deeper knowledge of like each Rumble and like can get a little more granular with them than I can, but I don't recall seeing a women's Rumble that was anything less than, it was good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was never like, that was a fucking stinker. Like,
they've all been like at baseline good, and yes, like some of the better ones have been like borderline great, like GOAT. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The ladies always deliver, and it's always interesting. I think, like, speaking broadly, wow, oh, look at me throwing out the accidental puns. I'm not gonna lie. You know what? I'm a little proud of my subconscious for doing that. My thing was going into it. And this is not meant to be like any kind of like braggadocious or anything like that, but it was a foregone conclusion for me. I did not, in my brain, have any doubt in my mind of the outcome. I didn't. I knew it for true and for certain. It was fun to watch, and like watching the ladies do their thing. Seeing Julia was cool. I really wish we could have gotten Matcha Slamovich in there. I really wish that would have been a surprise entrant. That's okay though. When number 30 came around, man, and it wasn't AJ Lee, like, that was a fucking bummer. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting there holding out hope. That was a bummer. Not having her show up. If she would have showed up, the roof would have come off that place. It would have been absolutely bonkers. Not thinking that she would win, but like it would have been insane. It would have been absolutely like incredible. My favorite thing about like a result from the Rumble is not necessarily like what happened in the Rumble match. I like what happened on the following Raw. Charlotte coming out and yapping, and people just immediately being like, "Boo! She's trying to do this. She's trying to do this stilted baby face." What was that? Did you say easy?
Yep.
Okay.
Because you start a sentence like 4 times. I didn't know if you were going to get off the line or not.
Well, it happens. Like, it takes me a while to get off the line, but once I do, I go off running. The thing with that is like when she got in there and tried to do the white meat baby face thing. Oh, this last year was so hard for me and I missed you guys in this. And to her credit, she pivoted to almost like like almost having the arrogance about her to be like, feel sorry for me. But that was just kind of like, I think Charlotte thinking a little on her feet, but just good. People were not fucking having it. They were like, no, you are not a baby face here. Fuck you. Like it was really, really glorious to like watch in real time how much agency the audience has. And but again, that's
real quick. I want to insert this. I don't think I've ever seen a turnaround from one night to the next. Like hearing her ovation for her return and then winning and in Indy and then them booing the fuck out of her in Cleveland. Like,
oh yeah.
That was a very jarring turnaround. Go ahead, go on, Poot.
Well, it was, but and to kind of put a wrapping on it, and there's more I could talk about, but having that, like the reason that like I enjoyed it because they did well. There's always good spots. It's always there. The reason that it was not like a keynote moment for me of the show is because I'm like, well, I know what's going to happen. So I'm just waiting until the end. There was that kind of like undertow there for me of just like, well, I know what's going to happen. So like, I mean, we're just kind of enjoying the ride at this point.
Yeah. And I've been fucking telling anybody who would listen since like December. Charlotte Flair's coming back and winning the Rumble. Like that's just fucking death, taxes, and Charlotte Flair in the title match at WrestleMania. That's just what's gonna fucking be our lifetime until she chooses not to be involved in wrestling anymore, or until she melts away. Yeah, I mean there was little question, I think, in anybody's mind how that was going to go down. Ransom, what about you? What were your thoughts on the Rumble of the female variety?
I thought it was really good. I don't think they had any wasted entrants. I like how Trish got a spot. I don't feel like that's a wasted entrance. I think there's a clear difference between retired wrestlers and legends. And in the pantheon of like women's wrestling, Trish is a legend. So, a nice little Rumble spot here. She didn't take up too much spotlight. It wasn't all about her. It was nice. She came in, she did some moves, she was in there for a little bit, she was eliminated. Perfect. I thought this is one of the better women's Rumbles that I've seen. I have honestly very little to complain about aside from, the glaringly obvious. Who was, I can't remember at this juncture because it's been a day. Who came in third and lasted like
Roxanne
to the very
Perez.
end? That's
Roxanne
it.
Perez.
That she honestly had a standout showing in that Rumble. I think this is probably the most I've seen her on a pay-per-view premium live event. And I'm not disappointed about it. Like, I think she's earned that, and I hope she gets featured more on the main roster. Because honestly, like she's at least to my novice eyes, she's a big up and comer, and I'm hopeful that they do a lot with her because I think honestly she deserves it. And then just the last thing of note is Charlotte Flair again. Lol, Charlotte wins. I love that I could hear the boos louder for her than I could for Hulk Hogan. You took more boos as a face than Hulk Hogan did when he was supposed to be a face. So, like, there's a feather in your cap. People dislike me more than they dislike Hulk Hogan. Look at the list of things to dislike Hulk Hogan about, and they dislike Charlotte Flair louder. I hope it continues. I don't care. I honestly, I hope they boo her straight on to WrestleMania and straight out of WrestleMania. If WWE was smart, they'd give it another week, see what happens, see if it's just a Cleveland thing. If I were them, I'd give it another week. She shows up next Raw, wherever they're at, and gets booed out of the building. Like, if there's not a heel turn after that, someone's not paying attention. Because I don't know that they can keep pushing her as a face when she continuously gets the majority of the arena booing her. Like, it's hard to be a face at that point. And honestly, I don't think Charlotte Flair should ever be a face. She's horrible. She has a fake face. And probably the only thing left natural on her are her heels anyway. So that's what she should be. She should be a heel. Get burnt by the sun, you plasticky bitch.
I'll let you slide in here, and then I'll finish up.
Oh no! I got a real hot take.
So are you then ceding the floor to me?
I am. I got a real hot take. You're not going to be happy with.
Everybody remember this moment. Go ahead.
Can I have a quick aside, real quick?
I do. I think.
All right. The thing I will say though, taking the vitriol for Charlotte Flair out of the factor, we can all admit Charlotte Flair better heel than a face.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I wanted to add. That's it.
Yeah, and again, I'm not ringing my own bell because I think anybody with two fucking eyes in their head knew that this was gonna fucking happen. The first ever and only at this point two-time Rumble winner, Charlotte Flair, fucking added to her fucking tally of becoming the quote-unquote greatest of all time. You can go ahead and label her that. I won't believe a second of it because of fucking a Nepo baby. I have a huge love for women's rumbles because, like Poot said, they've never been bad. There's not one women's rumble I can point to and go, that was hot garbage. I may not always be happy with the winner, but I think that every women's rumble has been good at baseline. Even the weaker ones have only been good, not great. I think that we saw a lot of great. If the devil being in the details, and this one I think is important. You saw Lyra Valkyria have a great coming out party, shall I say? Sure. You had Jordynne Grace making her official WWE debut and looking great doing it. You saw a little bit of a friction with Bianca and Naomi, which I think is exciting because it's one step closer to Naomi getting off my fucking TV.
Jesus.
Dude, she does nothing for me, and I don't think I'm the only one alone in that.
No, but she's not a charisma vacuum or anything.
Well, no, but she's a talent vacuum. Fucking more nepotism. I and like Nia tossing out a whole bunch of fucking people at the end, I think gives her a nice little empty platitude, if you will, to say, look what I did. Yeah, I lost, but look what I did. EO lasting, for a fuck long time. Again, Liv. I've done a lot of tearing down Liv. I'll say this: since her heel turn, she's been great. She's playing into that character perfectly. And she, like EO, carried much of the Rumble. Her, staying in so long. And at the very beginning, when Lyra was having her literal coming out party, she took the veteran stance of going over and clobbering her and getting her off camera so that the rest could help Lyra with her gear. So good on her for spotting that. And again, I think the right people showed out when they should have. There was one wasted spot, and that was Nikki Bella. I think just about anybody else would have been a better entrant than Nikki Bella. Masha Slamovich, Becky Lynch, AJ Lee, fucking
Anybody from TNA.
Jade, anybody from TNA, yeah. Bring back Ash by Elegance for God's sakes. Nikki Bella was the only fucking waste. And I
I'll
don't know.
I'll walk back my statement. She's so much voice that I forgot she even came out. To be honest.
I don't. Ronda Rousey would have been a better entrant than her. So like I can't figure out the impetus between who said, wow, Nikki Bella would be a great get back. Like, no, Alexa Bliss was a great get back. Like, the fans, that was the pop of the night, I think. Well, probably second after the men's Rumble winner. But like, Alexa Bliss coming back was a huge fucking pop. Bigger than Charlotte Flair. And she looked the part. Again, she was there with a purpose, with a reason. Welcome back, Miss Bliss. The one thing I'll say, and this is a negative, I guess. Like, we gotta figure out this entrance music stuff, man. Like, changing everybody's entrances constantly, like on a fucking 6-month turnaround, is not helping anybody. Fucking Lara Valkyria losing her significant do 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 woo do 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 woo.
I thought she still had it. It's just the people weren't doing the woo thing.
It sounded very remixy to me, and that's what this fucking guy. What is it? Who's this new fuck? The new music guy. It's not CFO Money. It's the new fucking guy. They have some okay ones, and playing the WWE game, hearing it in my ear, I'm like, okay, that's not a bad theme. I understand what they're going for. Why pay for a fucking 2-minute song when you only need 30 seconds? I get it. Fine. But I think that it's all very generic sounding, to the point where if it doesn't say their name in the song, we're like, who is that? Who is that? And I think that was a lot of the fans was like, I have no idea who this is. I have to look at the entranceway to see the name on the marquee to see who's coming out, because I don't have a fucking clue. So let's fix this. If there's one negative I'll talk about with WWE right now, it's the theme music game. Please bring back CFO $, CFO Money, fucking Jim Johnston. I don't care, man. Go pay for music. I don't give a fuck. But this dude who's doing them now is not moving the needle. They're not bad themes. They're just not memorable enough. And unfortunately, with the Royal Rumble, if you don't know people's music, it kind of clouds everything. Go ahead, Tom, with your hot take.
Well, before I get to that, yeah, I'll agree with you on the. I'd say probably the hero of the night was Liv Morgan, just because of the fact that she saved Lyra Valkyria's ass. And good on
hits, but yeah.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. Thanks. Anyways, yeah, Nikki Bella, the only wasted spot there. Is she? I don't know, unless she's actually going to be back on a part-time schedule or something. It's a surprise, if you want to call it that. That's their surprise entrant or whatever. But if it was literally she was only back for the night, then I agree. I still would have rather seen anybody else. Any other.
That's the kind of surprise that's fucking like socks for Christmas. That's what that was.
I'd rather see.
Fucking love socks.
I'd rather see any other of the NXT girls, from that whole plethora. I mean, we already got a shit ton, as it were, and I'd say of all the women's rumbles, I'd say this was probably the best one that I can recall personally, just because of the fact that it didn't have too many oh, hey, they're returning. It's a surprise. We haven't seen this, women's legend forever or anything like that. It had a nice mixture of surprises and a nice use of like the NXT talent to, start showcasing the future, the futures of the main roster, like like Roxanne Perez, like Jada Parker and everybody else, and depending on where they decide to put her, Jordan Grace, I think, I'm not 100% sure. I think she might be heading to NXT first, but I don't know. I don't know if anything's been confirmed with her yet or not. But like like anybody else from NXT, especially Roxanne Perez, like Roxanne's definitely main roster ready, but I don't want to see her get called up unless they have something for her. And I think that with her showing in the Rumble, I think that it's safe to say that they do, that they gave her that much spotlight and that much importance. I was kind of bummed not to see Jade return. Just because, one, obviously, it kind of like it busted some of my Final Four there for picks, and two, it would have been a nice segue back into getting back into the story of like why she's been out and stuff like that. And unless she's legitimately not ready to come back, if she's hurt or something like that, then I get it, obviously. And you can't do anything about that. But it would have been a good spot for her to come back. You could have had a nice show, you could have had a nice showdown between her and Nia again, or her and Jordan Grace, or her and Charlotte. Any one of those things. Like everybody else, I was not surprised with the winner. However, my hot take, I think that was probably, and I kind of alluded to it before, I think that was the best outcome that they could have asked for, storyline wise, is with Charlotte coming back and winning. I don't personally like her. She is a better heel than a face, for sure. And to her credit, like Poot said, when she came out for her promo on Raw the next night, she was very quick to kind of think on her feet and, turn it around. Like, she tried, be endearing to the crowd, and then she's like, oh, that's not what you want to hear? That's not what you want to hear? Well, that's what it was, and blah, blah, blah. But she handled it well. So I'll give her credit. She handled it well. I think that when it's all said and done, I think that certain people, not everybody, not a majority, because there are still people that obviously, like, that whole arena cheered her when she returned, and they cheered for her when she won. They booed her the next night, but they were still cheering. So there are fans of hers out there. I think when it's all said and done, there are going to be more people that probably turn the corner on Charlotte and go, oh, you know what? Yeah, she did a pretty good job. And I think it's I think a lot of it is a lot of the case of like how Cena was shoved down our throats, like how Roman was shoved down our throats. Charlotte's been shoved down our throats for years. And yeah, I'm sure there's an added element of nepotism there. Like, how could there not be? But you could also argue the same thing for Roman, because fuck, the whole, Samoan dynasty that's been in WWE over the last decades. You could argue that for Nia too, because she's The Rock's cousin. Fuck, his daughter's running NXT. So I mean, there's always going to be an air of nepotism one way or the other, because you have generational talents coming up, through the business. Their parents are in it, well, then they get in it. It happens. It's gonna happen. It's gonna continue to happen. So you can't completely argue that point. But I think the problem with Charlotte is kind of similar to, for people that want better sports analogies, and I'm not making comparisons of ability or anything like that, but on the same level, or the same instance of why they get so much hate. Look at Patrick Mahomes. Look at Tom Brady. It's greatness hate. The WWE, for better or for worse, in our opinions of what we think of her, have put their trust in her. And there's got to be a reason why they did it. She's got to be doing something, selling, making money somehow. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep putting her on top. They wouldn't keep shoving all these titles her way. There's got to be a reason, right? Now, whether we agree with it or not as fans, that's one thing. But business-wise, she's doing something because they keep fucking coming back to her. And I think she gets a lot of fucking, the term is greatness hate. I think that's a lot of it.
Ooh.
Now, again,
No way.
Again, that was my hot take. I know the other three of you are not going to agree with that and not see it that way, but that's fine. Just the same as you don't have to agree with that. I don't have to agree with Beef's take on Nia Jax. It's all good. Everybody has their opinion. Again, this is not me saying, "Oh my God, Charlotte Flair's the greatest," and I think she's absolutely deserves everything. I don't. But in this instance, and with the women's division currently where it's at, and your champions currently where they're at, storyline wise, it makes sense because she's gonna kind of do the tour this week. She already started it. She went to Raw. She had a little talk with Rhea. And Rhea's the one begging Charlotte to pick her to fight her at WrestleMania. Rhea's the one. Hold on. Rhea's the baby face saying, "Please pick me so we can run this back one more time so I can make you respect me." Rhea's the one chasing her, not Charlotte chasing the title. So there's that. Julia, there's the added there's the story of, well, hey, Charlotte showed up to NXT and she goes, well, the last time I won the Rumble, I picked the NXT. I picked to go after the NXT title and I won it, which are facts. She did. So, creates they're trying to create a little bit of suspense of that, Is she going to go here? Is she going to go there? She's still got to go to SmackDown and see what's going on with Tiffany Stratton, which, like I said before, I think that's personally the best matchup they could do. And have Tiffy go over, beat Charlotte, and that will elevate her so much. Like, that will do so much for Tiffy. If they were going to have Charlotte go against Rhea and Rhea beat Charlotte, okay, all well and fine. It doesn't really, it doesn't do as much for Rhea as it would do for Tiffy. You could say that having Julia, if Charlotte quote unquote chooses Julia and Julia beats Charlotte, that's, it would do as much or more or whatever if Julia beats Charlotte compared to Tiffany beating Charlotte. But I think there's more of a story there that can be a better story that can be told between Tiffy and Charlotte rather than Julia and Charlotte. And I think it will do more for either one of them as compared to if Rhea were to beat Charlotte. Either way, surprisingly, I don't think that Charlotte's going to win at WrestleMania. And I know that's like fucking bonkers to say because, lol, Charlotte wins. But I think she I hope she understands her place. And, and I hope WWE understands that that's what's best for business there at that point is to elevate that younger star and have them beat somebody that they systematically have built up as being one of the greatest women's wrestlers there in the company.
Flares don't understand anything. What?
Go ahead. I was just about to say I have a really hot take too, but go ahead, Ransom.
How about we, let the group judge what take is hot and what take is room temperature? How about it does nothing for Rhea to beat Charlotte? Nothing. Rhea Ripley has surpassed Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair's chasing her, trying to keep up. She's better on the mic. She's far better in the ring. People are much more connected to her than Charlotte Flair. She's past Charlotte Flair. That's, who cares? The only thing that Charlotte has over Rhea is her last name's Flair, and all that means is that you whip your dick out in public. Go ahead, Beef, with your hot take.
No, my hot take is I was with Tom 99% of the way. In that I think that she was the right call at the Royal Rumble. It makes me throw up on my mouth a little bit to say that.
I don't understand that.
The only other person I think that would have benefited in this position was Io Sky. I think that Io winning the Rumble, I think, would have been a nice feather in her cap. And I think that we're still going to get an Io Rhea WrestleMania match. I think that that's still like where we're headed. But like outside of Io, I think the best WrestleMania match for Tiffany Stratton is Charlotte Flair. Because, and how often have we said it? You don't have to go over to get over, right? That's the old adage in wrestling.
Correct.
And here's the part where I'm gonna argue with you, Tom. I don't give out predictions. I give spoilers. Charlotte Flair's gonna win a WrestleMania. Sure as I sat here in December, fucking probably November, and said Charlotte Flair's coming back and winning the fucking Rumble, I'm here to tell you that Charlotte Flair is going to beat Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania. But I don't think that that's a bad thing for her, because I think that it will only it'll have the Cody effect for Tiffy, where people because I can't explain what happened in Indianapolis. I am other than maybe them piping in cheers. Because Charlotte Flair has never gotten that kind of reaction. Yeah, she's had a smattering. It's been at best 50-50. So, like, I don't know why Indy was so fucking gaga for her. I think that you saw the real Charlotte Flair reaction on Monday, the boos. And I think that that's what you can expect on the road to WrestleMania.
Yes.
And at WrestleMania. And I think that it's going to make Tiffany the de facto face, which I think the wrestling world has been clamoring for since last February. And I think that it's going to give her a lot of juice in the chase, and in so much that she may be next year's Royal Rumble winner to get that win back from Charlotte. Does that mean we're going to have to put up with the fucking year-long reign from Charlotte? Maybe. God, I hope not, but that's a very strong possibility. I know, man. I know. But at the end of it, if it does for Tiffany Stratton what it did for Rhea Ripley when Rhea beat Charlotte at WrestleMania 39, man, I'd have a tough time not signing up. Because you can say what you will about Rhea Ripley. She's been great. Absolutely fucking lights out since her debut in NXT UK, where she dominated. Came to NXT, dominated. Hit the main roster, hit a little bit of a speed bump until she got that win over Charlotte Flair, WrestleMania 39. Yeah, she was on the upswing. Absolutely. But she was kind of miring a little bit. She didn't become a fucking rock star until she beat Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39. So if that's what it does for Tiffany Stratton, WrestleMania 42 next year, If I have to endure, whatever, fucking 8 months, 9 months, 10 months of Charlotte Flair as champion, and I'd probably sign on for that.
So part of the Rhea thing, I think, and she's attested to this as well too, is that she, finally got more comfortable with herself and her character around the whole like mommy time and stuff like that or whatever. Like whenever she was on the upswing and whenever she beat Charlotte, like we're seeing, we're seeing her embrace herself and blur it with that character, because like, when she came in and she was blonde and everything like that, it like, she's like, that wasn't me. She's like, I looked the way I looked because I thought that's what they wanted and this and that. And then, she ended up cutting her hair shorter, and then she ended up dyeing it. And, like, so you've seen, like, if you go back, I'm sure I've sent it at some point, but like, if you go back or look online somewhere and you see like the transformation, of certain superstars, over the years, like from their first debut to current. Like, I mean, like, look at like Drew McIntyre, how much, he's changed. Look at Rhea, how she's changed. I mean, fuck, even look at Sasha from whenever she came in NXT, and like hers wasn't as much of a drastic change, but it's noticeable if you compile them back to back to back. But I think that's also part of it too, is like people being comfortable with themselves and the characters they're portraying and really coming into their own. Like Beef had mentioned earlier, Liv Morgan, she's done up to now probably the best work of her career since she got on this heel run, and everything with Dom and the Judgment Day and all that. Like, her leaning into this character that she's doing now, it has been the best work that she's done. And I'm with you. I'm with you on that one, Beef. Like, if they decide to go with Charlotte at Mania, if it helps elevate Tiffy, taking the loss and then coming back and getting it at next year's Mania, okay, cool. I don't know if they're gonna go that way. I feel like I don't know how much longer. I don't know how much longer Charlotte's gonna want to do this or can do this. I don't know. Like, I mean, I know she's not like, she's not, aging out necessarily, but like, I don't know. She was out for quite some time. Like, it took her a long time to get over this last injury, So when you're out for that long, like, I think, the mind probably starts to wonder, like, well, how much longer am I going to be able to do this? So, I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Thoughts?
The only thought that I have that you guys didn't touch on is like, it is jarring how different Charlotte Flair looks now from when she started her career in WWE.
Oh yeah.
It is fucking, I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I'm not trying to be body shame anybody or their choices or whatever. But it is,
fuck your choices.
there has been a lot of like very
Plastic
jarring
surgery,
like, changes that she has done. And I'm like, and I think more for me, it's one of those things where I look at people and I go like, you were fine. Like I don't know. It also is just like, I hate to put it this way, but like, someone on I think it was it was one of the Facebook groups I'm part of, posted a then and now of Charlotte Flair, and now she looks like a ghoul. Like, she just, I was like, oh,
she looks like she should be on the Real Housewives of WWE.
And
like, it's gross.
not anymore. What with the divorce from Andrade?
Boom, roasted.
The real ex-wives of WWE. Well, they could, WWE would have a gold mine in the real ex-wives of WWE.
Oh, brother.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair continues to face. Charlotte Flair continues to follow her father's footsteps. 14-time world champion.
Divorce.
She's one divorce behind her father now, so she'll catch up at some point, and then.
Dude, when she was licking her lips on Raw, trying to talk, I don't know if she couldn't tell if they were there or not, or if they're so dumb. She's like, "Did I lose my face? Is it just teeth? What? I gotta lick them. I gotta lick it."
Is it just teeth?
That's a real thing that happens. Like the whole like body dysmorphia thing. Like if you get so much plastic surgery, sometimes you just fucking stop feeling parts of your face.
Well, I mean, like, look, they didn't look real, dude. Like,
no, none of it is.
Oh my gosh! Like licking her lips, it looked like she was licking fucking silly putty. Just like onto her face. They there?
Quick question. Quick question. Because I don't remember if I fell asleep watching all of Raw or anything if I missed it. Was Bliss on Raw?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Nope. She is allegedly heading for SmackDown.
Okay.
I just feel like it's just not. I don't know, man. Like maybe I'm misjudging it, but it definitely feels like very blatant hero worship from Triple H. And like we've commended him for everything that he's done recently. But this is the one thing that I think he just has a blind spot because he wants to make his hero happy.
Well,
he got to, not only meet but basically befriend his heroes like Lemmy and fucking Ric Flair. And, we've seen how he's treated Lemmy. Fucking Lemmy made 3 entrance themes for him. Like, he basically kept Motorhead around and relevant for like, the latter part of Lemmy's years. And obviously, the same can be said for Ric Flair. Like, if Triple H does not ask Ric Flair to be part of Evolution, like Ric Flair just fucking fades into dust.
I have one more thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Ahead. Yeah.
To kind of put a button on the whole Flair stuff. If there's one Flair that I'd rather see in the spotlight, it's the one that's least likely to whip their dick out at somebody and sexually assault people.
So which one?
Well, I mean,
No,
Are you trying to say that Charlotte has a dick? Yeah, man. She probably had one added because she had crazy. She is into plastic surgery. Lunatic.
There's anything wrong with that, but like I don't see it with her. I have never seen it with her back when she was fucking big leaguing Sasha, who was the at the time and I think still better in-ring competitor. Like I've never understood how somebody looks at Charlotte Flair and goes, "This person's a superstar." Again, if her last name were Jones, she'd probably be a solid hand in NXT if she chose to do that. Which, if her last name was Jones, she probably would not have. And there have been times where I've given her flowers and I've said, she's training hard, she's working hard, blah blah blah. But like I feel like that's passed her by a little bit. I feel like she doesn't have that anymore because she doesn't need to. Why work hard if the teacher's just going to give you an A on the test every year? It sucks that that's an attitude, but like unfortunately, like I get it, and the fact that they are so willing to trip over themselves to lead her into the spotlight, why would she work hard? I guess there's 2 schools of thought, like, work hard to maintain, or like, hey, I'm here, like, let me just coast. And I really feel like she's the latter, not the former. The latter, not the former.
I'm the former.
You are
I'm
the
tag
man
team champions.
now, dog. So it sounds like we've kind of like talked ourselves around the Women's Royal Rumble pretty hefty. And again, good feels. I think it was absolutely great. They're outside of Nikki Bella and Charlotte Flair winning and like the generic rock themes like for 30 minutes. Like the one thing I'll mention while we're kind of like in the in-between time, how fucking awesome was that ticker at the bottom of the screen?
Dude, I loved the graphics this year, like with them having that stuff and like showing like, oh, so-and-so's been eliminated, or like, entrant number, how many, entrant number blah 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 is next. So many active. Like, I love that. I'm here for it.
It made it flow really well, and it also gave it an air of professionalism.
Man, it felt like a real sports event.
Yes, thank you. That's what I was gonna say. It made it feel like an actual sports event, like something you'd be watching on ESPN or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like that leaned more into the sports side of the sports entertainment. You know what I mean?
The more that Triple H bucks kayfabe, the more that he's also like, hey, look, we're also a sport, which I love. Plus, I remember how like fucking fed up we were with those obtrusive graphics from last year that they'd pop up for like, wrestlers in the ring. That time, like in the upper left-hand corner, like, okay, why are we doing this? When it's on the bottom ticker, it's fine. And it's giving you like, all the information, Io's been in here for 23 minutes. Nia's had 6 eliminations thus far. Yes, please God, roll with that from here until perpetuity. Keep the Rumble ticker, for God's sakes.
It really works well, too, because then you look at the different things like FanDuel and DraftKings and stuff like that, where people are placing bets on the Rumble and stuff like that, so it makes it feel, more quote unquote legitimate, like a more legitimate sport. Even though we know, obviously, it's sports entertainment. Like, yes, we know things are predetermined, but there are cases of where things do have to get called on the fly. Like if somebody gets hurt in the middle of a match, or whatever, things like that. Cards subject to change as always. But but there is absolutely, if somebody tries to argue that professional wrestling is not a sport, I'd say, well, fuck you, because it takes people a lot more athleticism to do that than to do some other things like golf or bowling. So go fuck yourself.
Well, I mean, I guess go fuck bowling, I suppose.
Yeah, fuck them. Fuck them all.
Wow,
Men's Rumble.
Wow, Men's Rumble. So Men's Rumble. Ransom, kick us off with your thoughts on the.
No.
Okay. Well, we'll come back once he finishes Oreos. Poot.
Fucking Jesus. All right.
Oh my God, Ransom made a noise. I never heard that before.
Wasn't a noise. It was more. It was just no. No, it was just.
I'm trying to facilitate because I know that I can talk at great length to take all of the points. I'm trying to avoid doing that.
Oh my God. Let me.
He's not wrong.
It was just funny. It was just funny though. No, it was just funny. The
urgency of it.
Yeah. No. So the Men's Rumble, it was bang for the buck for the Rumble. In my opinion, it was one of the best Rumbles we've had, and I think one of the many factors in this, why it was so enjoyable and why it was so good, is because the smallest factor is that ticker. That ticker is so fucking cool. Like, I know we just talked about how great it is, but like it really helped you digest. How many times we been sitting around watching Rumbles, or you've been watching Rumbles with your friends and you go, hey, is so-and-so still in here? Hey, how long's that person been in there?
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, where'd that person go? Were they eliminated? And it'll show you. It's like, oh yeah, they're eliminated by blah, 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 blah. Like, and it showed the order of who came out when at number whatever. Like, that is so fucking neat. That's so cool. As far as the men's Rumble goes, when Rey Mysterio came out at 1, I knew Penta was going to be number 2. It's like, it just makes sense. And I also have a hot take once everything's said and done. But the men's Rumble, it was really enjoyable. Just top to bottom, I thought the pacing was really good. Whenever Akira Tozawa got taken out and got taken in the back and everything like that, and Triple H makes the call, I show speed, get out there, and like kind of eye rolling, going, okay, there's the wasted spot. How many or more are gonna be fucking wasted? Like that kind of thing. And I show speed, to his fucking credit, he didn't do a crazy amount of horse shit in that thing, but I have mad fucking respect for anybody who will take a spear like that from Braun Breaker. And you just fucking know that someone in the back, that someone in the back, like Braun Breaker and the boys are talking everything, and someone just like, hey, put a little heat on him. Like, but kind of, give him something, show him what we're about. This isn't just like a bit or whatever. Like that was by a country mile one of the roughest things I've seen in recent memory in wrestling. Like, just Beef, what did you say? You said Braun Breaker can reach 28 miles an hour or some shit?
Yeah, I think it's 25 miles an hour coming off the ropes.
That is, first of all, that by itself is fucking crazy. That man is in that good a shape. I mean, he has the pedigree to back it up. Like, it is in his blood. It is in his DNA. And also, Braun Breaker's fucking singlet was dope. That was super cool.
No, that's actually a Rick Steiner singlet. I didn't realize that until I saw some other pictures of Rick. Rick Steiner wore a singlet exactly like that. I don't remember
really
where, but yep.
I thought this. Sorry, I thought the singlet was like. Was it just me, or did it have a bunch of numbers? Like, was that supposed to signify the Steiner math or whatever? Like,
yeah, I thought that.
That's what people were saying.
Or it's the Royal Rumble full of numbers. But yeah, Rick Steiner absolutely had that singlet for sure.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
For all we fucking know, it may have been Rick Steiner's singlet.
I would be sorry, real quick. I would be really interested to see if the top speed that they're saying that Braun can reach is what it actually is, or if that's their fabricated number. Because I know I hear the announcers say like he can reach up to like 20 some miles an hour, and I'm like, I mean, I don't. How fast is Usain Bolt, or was Usain Bolt? I mean,
yeah, I understand, but that's Usain Bolt, like without getting the benefit of bouncing off ropes. Also, Usain Bolt a little more built slight than Braun Breaker.
Fair point.
Like Braun Breaker's just a big meaty man. But this is my point. Like, even the spot that I was sitting here thinking, okay, they're fucking wasting this spot, wasn't a waste. And also, aside from the spear that was disgusting, when I Show Speed went onto the announce table, he had a big fucking chunk of his leg taken out. Like, he had a nasty leg like injury. Like, now obviously, like, he can get around, like he's fine, but like, he had a big old fucking abrasion on his leg. It was a little gross. I think Logan Paul re-X'd it. Is that what we're saying now? But overall, the men's Rumble was great. A couple highlights. Obviously, someone in that fucking arena said his name because fucking Joe Hendry was there. That was so fucking great. And to see Joe Hendry being in that environment, from watching him whenever he was wrestling in WCPW on YouTube, and he was called the local hero Joe Hendry before he really settled into the music gimmick and like the personality he has and the whole thing and the confidence. Seeing him go from that to walking into a multi-thousand person arena and not only coming out looking confident and with that fucking TNA world title on, but going in there and mixing it up with people that he's never mixed it up with before and doing it like he belongs. People have said that Joe Hendry's an overnight success. He's a 10-year overnight success. He has been busting his ass on the indies to build his name, build his character, and learn his craft. Ariel Awani, the interview? Is that what it is, Beef?
Yeah, Ariel Helwani.
Yeah, Ariel Awani. He did an interview with Joe Hendry post Rumble. And again, go check that interview out. Really, really insightful into Joe Hendry. And also how really focused he is on what he's doing as a champion and what he wants to do for the business. And yeah, of course, for himself, but also what he's doing for the business. It's very interesting. Getting in there and mixing it up with like, Roman Reigns, John Cena, these people, and doing it like he belonged. Cena had an okay showing. It's fine. I like what John Cena is doing. Tom, you said about the post interview on the media scrum.
Oh yeah,
with him. Yeah. That was really cool because that's really cool to see John Cena like bear down and get serious. I like that Cena. I think that Cena is really cool. My hot take, and I don't know if you want me to say it now or if you want me to save it until after everyone said their piece.
Go ahead.
All right. My hot take is that you all know how big of a Penta mark I am. I like Penta a lot.
No.
And Penta was the Iron Man for this. He was in there for 40 some plus minutes.
Yeah, he was in there for a while.
I am left very lukewarm by Penta's appearance. Very lukewarm. Because and so far with his WWE run, I am thrilled he's here. I'm thrilled he's making this for his career. I'm eager to see where they're going to go with him. But so far, I have not been necessarily wowed with Penta. And the Rumble was kind of the button on it. Because, yeah, he was in there for 43 minutes. If you go back and rewatch that Rumble, Penta did a fuck ton of laying around. He did a whole bunch of road dogging.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the Royal Rumble.
I Beef, please. I am well aware.
Not wrong.
I am well aware of this. I'm well aware of the fact that people have to, if they're scheduled to be in there, if they're scheduled to be in there for a long time, and that's their shtick and deal. Yes, they have to reserve themselves. They have to take care of themselves. But a whole bunch, like that's the thing. He did some spots. He did his thing. Always love seeing Penta do his thing, Cero Miedo and all that. I love it. But it was the meme of that guy with the stick poking it, go and do something. Like that. I know that's what the Rumble does. But like he did a lot of laying around, man.
We sat here for 20 minutes ago, giving Roxanne Perez huge credit for going from third to the finish, and she did not much more. In fact, Penta actually did more in the ring than Roxanne did in the Women's Rumble. We can't have it both ways, but dude, you're either in for 15 minutes and you get all your spots, or you're in for 40 and you may not get a ton of spots, or maybe you do, but they're stretched out over a 40-minute period. I think you have way too hard of an eye on Penta right now, my man. I think you are coming in as a Penta mark, and I appreciate that. As somebody who will watch a wrestler that they have loved for a long time with a discerning eye, and say I want them to be used better. I appreciate that. But I'm also letting you know that I think that you are alone in this. I think that the majority of fans who either know Penta and appreciate him, like me, or have no idea who Penta is, but are getting a taste of him, are through the moon, through the roof, over the moon,
Through the moon.
about his presentation so far.
No,
no.
That's the thing. The presentation's great, but this was one of those things where I went. It's more the fact of like a lot of just laying around. Like be up, be in the corner, throw some normal stuff, be just kind of moving. You don't have to be the center of attention. Just there was a ton of laying around. And that's the thing. It's not.
Did you rewatch the Rumble?
I rewatched a good little bit of it.
Okay, I watched both. I rewatched both Rumbles the next day, because I think that there are some things that you can't get when you're at like a party. So like I was doing my game filming, I guess you'd say. I think he did fine. I think actually he did outstanding. If I'm being honest, I think that all of his spots were great.
The spots he did were great. Yeah, the spots were great. Yeah, they were great. They're
Listen, man. I'm trying to help you, Pooch. As somebody who again has watched.
I don't speak up that much, man.
Listen to fucking me, Poot. I'm trying to help you.
I don't speak up because someone might disagree with me.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm trying to help you because again, and I'd like to think that I have a large part in some of your love for these indie-rific guys. I have watched these guys come up, and then whenever they don't do anything, I'm like, fuck all. What's going on here? This ref's trying to fuck on me. Like, I'm telling you, it's not as bad as all that, man. Like,
you're acting like I said. You're acting like I said that Penta's shit, and that's not what I said.
Oh,
what I said was I was left lukewarm by it. I'm not giving up on Penta. Maybe I'm being a little overly critical of it and everything like that. But you know what? I'm not the first person on this podcast to be overly critical about something.
What?
Like that's like
shock Pikachu meme.
But that's my that's my thing is that I'm like
this Rumble. So first of all, I want to be real with you about something. This Rumble was unique. Oh. This Rumble was unique because I think eliminations mattered. Who had them? When they occurred, this felt a lot more purposeful. And I know we're getting in the weeds here, but I feel like I gotta bring you back from the break here, buddy.
Weed.
This Rumble felt a lot more purposeful, a lot more plotting. Like the eliminations weren't just fucking like random. Like it felt like everything happened for a reason. Penta had 42 minutes in the match, which was longer than the winner by 6 minutes. That's a big deal. Penta had an elimination. Some people who didn't have eliminations: Rey Mysterio, Carmelo Hayes, Sheamus,
your mother, Trebek,
The Miz. McIntyre had 0 eliminations. The U.S. champion Nakamura, 0 eliminations. Dom, 0. Seth, 0. Sami Zayn, 0.
Wow.
The only people.
Okay.
Hold on. The only people with more eliminations than him: Braun Breaker, Jacob Fatu, Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, Braun Strowman for whatever reason, John Cena, and Damian Priest, and CM Punk. Those are the people who have more eliminations than Penta. Penta's been in WWE for 3 weeks. That list of people who had 0 eliminations are people who are legends like Rey Mysterio or have busted their ass in NXT to be great. And suddenly there's this guy that came in out of nowhere and had an elimination. Again, I'm not trying to say that I'm trying to help you walk back from the brink a little bit, Poop, because I had this in CM Punk's first WWE run, where like I was looking through the eyes of, and I'm gonna say the M word. It's not that I'm calling you a mark, but I was looking through the eyes of a mark and saying, why aren't they doing anything with CM Punk? What's happening here? He's doing so great. Can't they see what they have in him? And I know how much you love Penta. I don't want you to go through that. I'm letting you know, buddy. As someone, as an impartial observer, I can tell you that Penta had a good night. And I know at some point the fucking 2 feet is going to be brought up, and to which I will say this. WWE is a live action movie with zero do-overs. Sometimes when you're creating high drama, shit happens, you roll with it. Like, I can, believe that, anything that happens in the fucking Avengers movie, that fucking Loki can catch an arrow that Hawkeye sent, okay? Like, I can believe that Pentagon didn't touch 2 feet. I don't give a fuck about the fucking video replays. I can suspend my disbelief. Outside of all of that, go ahead.
I was gonna say, man, I wasn't done, but like you're good. Go ahead.
Well, I feel like this is a incredible Rumble, start to finish. I was actually gonna say that I loved Pentagon showing. I think that he had a great showing, and a great Rumble, and it's very clear that they're super high on him. When we get Penta versus Braun, and I really hope it's WrestleMania, it's going to be something to fucking sign up for. I think that they handled Jacob Fatu Jacob Fatu personally.
God damn it, Wade Barrett.
I think that they handled Jacob Fatu perfectly. I wish he would have gotten the elimination of Roman Reigns, but given where they're headed, I understand. Logan Paul is what it is. He's a fucking heat magnet, and he's doing his job perfectly. Other than that, the usual suspects showed up. We got an AJ Styles return, which was great. We got Finn Balor coming back with a fucking terrible theme. Joe Hendry was an awesome surprise. I show Speed. And again, like, I know that there are purists out there that are like, that was a waste. You know what? Like, I shows that clip has gotten 255 million views on socials, which I think dictates a lot of the story anymore, is how social media is perceiving things. So, like, the fact that that iShow was willing to play ball and get killed, and then the fact that they were able to like run with that, I think has borne very obvious fruits. And I think most important of all, I think the right guy won. There at the end, when it was down to, I think, the final 6, which I want to make a point. It feels like the final 4 was not a big deal. In fact, it was kind of glossed over, really. There really wasn't the final 4. It was more like the final 6. Which is kind of a bucking of tradition. But like outside of Logan Paul, who was number 30, like, that's the same reason that Dolph Ziggler was in the top 6 so fucking much, is because he was always number 30, perennially, always the last 3. I don't know who fucking Dolph Ziggler, had relations with, to always come in at 27, 28, 29, or 30. But by God, every year. But like, I don't know what you wanted to do with Logan Paul. If he's number 30, that's where he was going to be. Whatever. But like, Punk, Rollins, Roman, Cena, like all of those guys, I was like, if one of these guys wins, I'm fine with it. I would have been least happy with Roman, admittedly, because we don't know how I feel about Roman at this point. But again, I would have understood it. But I think for John Cena to say, okay, this is my last Rumble, and it would not shock me if the brass sat down with John and they're like, all right, man, what do you want to do? And he's like, I want to put over the hottest talent right now. Who you got? And he made that choice to go out. For Cena, again, I feel to make the choice, but regardless, he did business with Jey Uso. There were a couple times where we got the false finish, and I was like, okay, this is just silly because we know Cena's gonna win. Which again, I was fine with. To me, I think is the GOAT of WWE, and I think he deserved to be on that plateau with Steve Austin to have the three, the three Royal Rumble wins. And I know that he said he's retiring from in-ring competition at the end of this year, but you never say never in wrestling. But the bigger story here is the fact that that they put over Jey Uso, a guy who is crazy over. And I've seen a lot of fucking whack jobs on all these fucking various social media sites, which I'm just getting ready to be done with. But like that are bitching about it. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't understand how to like put this to you more plainly, but like this dude is over as fuck. This dude is Daniel Bryan in the Yes Movement. This dude is, CM Punk when he had his first Money in the Bank contract. Like, this guy is, like, over as fuck. And, they actually pulled the trigger on a guy who everybody loves, who's entertaining, charismatic, wears his heart on his sleeve. Like, what's so bad about this? The only negative I can dig out of any of this is that I don't think that he's actually going to main event WrestleMania. I think that main event is going to be Cody versus Cena night 2, and night 1's going to be Roman versus Punk versus Rollins. So, like, I don't think that Jey Uso's actually going to get to main event WrestleMania, which is a fucking bummer. But unfortunately, we live in a time where main event and world title match at WrestleMania are synonymous. But that's literally the only negative I have outside of all of this. And again, that's a perspective. Things could change between now and then. I love the call. I'm done talking. Somebody else talk now.
I was waiting to hear what else Poot had to say.
I mean, Beef, you pretty much covered it, man. So I'm good. Like it was just a good Rumble, and I had a good time. That was the thing. It's like it's fun to sit around with your friends and like have a Rumble not only be enjoyable but be good. You know what I mean? Bad Rumble, it's like pizza. Like bad Rumble's still a Rumble. Like, you know what I mean? But like when a good Rumble and you're sitting around with people, like sitting around and enjoying it with other people who are into it, it's nothing like it.
No.
Well, I mean
that's really it. Like, I mean, like I said, Beef, you got it. Like you got it. I think that I don't know if any of us saw Jey Uso going over. Wasn't on my radar.
Was not on my bingo card, I can tell you that. I'm not mad about it. I'm fine with it.
But he is white. He's white hot.
Absolutely.
Just white hot.
He's so there was a clip I sent you guys not long ago, like probably within this last week. And it was, I think it was from like Sam Roberts talking about how Jey Uso, how he's been white hot for a long time, since like going back to like Bash in Berlin and Bad Blood, where he wasn't even on the card and there were yeet signs. And like when they were doing the pre-show stuff, there were, whoever was on camera talking, it might have been Sam Roberts or Pete Rosenberg, I can't remember. But one of them, like, and they showed a a still of it, and whoever it was, on the WWE panel talking was surrounded by people with yeet signs. Jay wasn't even on the card. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but granted that we didn't get a lot of surprises in the men's rumble, like surprise entrances or anything like that, which I'm okay with. Like, everything made sense storyline wise, like where they were going, where they're at now, where they're going forward. And it makes sense to have Jay have Jay win it. Even more so, it makes even more sense the way John Cena got eliminated, because it's not like he got the usual like tossed over. It wasn't like they did the whole like, oh, I'm gonna run from the one side of the ring with you to the other, and then I'm gonna get reversed at the last minute and get tossed out. Like, no, he got pushed off the apron, like, and he landed with both his 2 feet like perfectly. And it's just that moment, that facial of Cena just like realizing like, fuck, I just got eliminated and this is the last Rumble. Like, it, like all of that coming over his face in just one instant, which made the press conference even better afterwards. I was excited to see like all the different potential matchups. Like, every time somebody else would come into the ring, they'd square up to like Jacob Fatu, and it's just like everybody's like, oh fuck, here we go, like I want to see this matchup. And you had that with so many people, so like there's so much potential for him going forward. Once again, my Final Fours pick was busted to shit, but it's going to be interesting to see how Mania shakes up. It's going to be interesting to see if CM Punk does get a WrestleMania main event somehow, if they end up slotting him into one of the title pictures somehow, some way, if the favor that Paul Heyman owes him comes to fruition or not. It's wide open how they can go forward. But the thing is like, the Rumble set it all up, and whatever way they decide to go, it's gonna make sense. The dots are gonna connect, and I'm here for it.
Ransom, what you got?
I don't understand. Why is there so much hate for Jey Uso winning the Rumble?
I'm not sure.
Like, I've seen so many stupid Facebook posts just like poop it all over WWE. Like, oh look, Jey Uso won. I mean, I'm not gonna, motherfucker. I don't know what, I can't remember what they said, but like, it was just shitting all over him. Like, I don't understand that. Like, he has the biggest crowd reaction over everybody. Why is he getting the hate? Looking for a conversation here.
I think we're living in a different time, man. I think a lot of people are a lot more looser with their opinions on social media because there are no consequences. So I think a lot of people's like real fucking personalities are showing through. Sad as that is to say. I mean, it might be a little bit of a race thing, if I'm being honest. I think that there was definitely those like wrestling fans who were disappointed because it wasn't John Cena. Because I think that he was the emotional pick, and again, I think the one that we all would agree was welcomed. But at the same time, I either said it before the elimination or after. I don't remember exactly, but I think it may have been before. Where I mentioned, like, can you imagine if Jey Uso were to win this? He'd be a made fucking guy, and I stand behind that, man. Like, taking Logan Paul out of the equation. You had guys that are first ballot Hall of Famers, guys who are heavyweights of the business. Punk, Rollins, Cena, Roman. Like, again, we're talking best of the best of all time. And out of that came Jey Uso. I so long as they actually finish the story and have him beat Gunther at WrestleMania, I think that he's a made man. Regardless of whatever else happens, he's fucking like ready to go. I think that and again, speaking as a CM Punk fan, I know that there are a lot of people out there drinking the fucking Kool-Aid that think that he should have had it this year because he's never won one. And it's in Saudi next year, which he has made no bones about saying he's not going to Saudi. So it's not going to be next year. So I think that there's a sect of like, the cult of personality out there who, had that tied and, the same with Roman. I think that Roman has a lot of people out there right now who are really, really wowed
Roman.
by him. And, so I think that there's a little bit of disappointment from some of those, but like I said, man, I think it's just, this day and age where people can say things without getting their ass kicked or even fucking like called out on it. And I think that made a lot of people a lot looser in this day and age.
So
Man, it's like I didn't get it. Like, go ahead.
I was just about to say to your point, Ransom. I apparently have not hit the low druthers of the internet wrestling community. I didn't see a whole bunch of hate for Jey Uso, so this it doesn't surprise me that there would be people out there, being fucking asshats about it. But I personally didn't see it, so I'm kind of
Unfortunately it's out there.
It's a blind spot for me.
Well, and that's good. I'm glad and I hope that you continue to have that blind spot because those are the people that you don't want to interact with.
I have no problem telling dumbasses when they're being dumbasses. It ain't gonna it ain't gonna affect me none. I mean, fuck, I'll do it to you guys if one of you guys are being dumbasses too. I don't give a shit. True friends do that for one another.
Hell yes, man. I've seen, and this is real fucking weird. A lot of international fans are like big onto WWE socials, and they're part of these wrestling groups. And I mean, like outside of like the UK and like really I think the UK, it seems like a lot of the international wrestling fans are like marks, like legit, like fucking like carny marks. Not to the point that they believe that wrestling is real per se, but they fall a lot closer to that line than like most intelligent fans.
No, I know what you mean because I know a couple people like that. Like yeah, and I'm like, no. Like you do realize why they went this direction or why your white meat babyface didn't win this match. It's only to make him seem more adverse or whatever. It's like, oh, get it, what a man. I'm like, yeah, calm down.
And I think that is just one of those things that, again, social media emboldens people, even if they may not be, playing with a full deck of cards. They can get on a Facebook and spout their opinions, and unfortunately, no one wants to be the person that's gonna, dress down a fucking man-child for being an idiot, whenever they may actually be a fucking idiot. What I'm saying. But like, I don't know, man. I just feel like, plus, I think there's a lot of old heads that didn't understand why Cena didn't win. But at the same time, like if you're an old head, you should absolutely understand why Cena didn't win and why he's not going to win his final match. Because, the one thing that I think that he caught a lot of flack for was not being like, Cena, that is, was not being like a true like wrestling nerd like all of us. He was a bodybuilder that was poached and just kind of learned the business that way. And he didn't pay his dues, this, that, and the other thing. But I think that he's going to go out the right way, on his back, putting somebody else over. which is absolutely what should be done. And I think that this was just step one of that. I hope that this is not the entire Cena retirement tour. I do want to see Cena get some valuable wins in this year, but I think at the end of the day, I think this is going to be this is something we're going to be seeing from Cena this year, putting over the right guys and making some careers.
On top of that, Cena, even if you want to do it this way, I think it goes with any kind of babyface of that ilk. It's in the chase. If Cena would have won now, we would have just had a whole bunch of Cena saying, I'm coming for you. I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it. Cena loses. Then he has to go into Elimination Chamber. How's he going to work his way in? Is he going to make it? Like it's in the chase.
Yeah. And to your point, how you said it, whenever we were talking about things last week, Poot, it's no matter how successful, like Cena is, arguably one of the greatest of all time in WWE. He still does best when he's under that underdog story, or that, like you said, hustle, loyalty, respect, like him working his way through all the obstacles and the adversities and stuff like that. And Ransom, if you had more that you wanted to touch on, please by all means, tell me to shut up and jump back in. Otherwise, this point that I have right now kind of segues into the post show comments that Cena made and stuff.
No, I'm good. I mean, I agree with everything you guys have said. I just didn't understand why there was so much negativity on Jey Uso. I thought he was a great pick to win. I didn't see him winning, but
yeah.
I mean, who gets a louder crowd reaction at this point than Jey Uso? Nobody. So
right. I mean,
well deserved.
I mean, fuck. If anybody watched Raw the next night, the Raw right after the Rumble, hell, the first 10 minutes of the show were literally just Jay eating with the crowd and everybody, and then at one point, towards right before he actually started talking his promo, the crowd's like one more time, and they restarted his music back up, like they called an audible. He's like, all right, let's run it back again, and did it for another minute or so, and then when he started to talk, you felt that realism in his promo. Like, I think he was so overtaken by the moment that he forgot what the fuck he was gonna say, but you could see his eyes welling up and you could see the emotion and stuff. And that's, man, that if that's not what you want out of somebody who just won their first Royal Rumble, I don't know what is. But I'm here for how they are involving Cena in the chamber, with his comments at the post show scrum. He's like, I'm not taking questions. I'm just gonna make a statement, and he goes in to talk about all the time he's given to the company and over his career, and he's like, what's best for business is me main eventing WrestleMania and winning the 17th title, and I'm here to say that that's what my mission statement is now, and I'm all for it, because he's not wrong. Like, it's not gonna hurt anybody, because he is gonna do the right thing and end up making somebody out of it, whether that's a Braun Breaker, whether that's whoever. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna do the right thing at the end of the day and get somebody else over. But man, I am absolutely here for him. He said, this is the first time that I'm gonna be selfish, and this is the first time that I'm gonna, use my clout more or less and insert myself into this chamber match, because I feel I have earned it after, over 2 decades of loyal service to this company. He's not wrong. I mean, if they've rolled out the carpet for the likes of fucking Goldberg, how the fuck are you not gonna let John Cena call that shot there and say, I'm putting myself in this match? Now, obviously, I mean, I'm sure, when I say have him put himself in the match, have creative and have the company behind this idea and stuff. But you know what I mean. You get where I'm coming from. I'm here for it, and that's, again, I didn't have Cena winning the Rumble in my picks. I think I think I had Rollins as my pick. I didn't have Cena winning because I thought maybe his path is going to go through Elimination Chamber, and as we're when we talked it out and fleshed it out last week with picks, and when Poot was saying about how Cena performs best from this underdog state, regardless that he's like Superman, it makes sense. It makes the dots connect, and I'm here for it. And I'm ready to see how this main event picture shapes out for Mania, especially on Cena's end. Like I feel like he's gonna win Elimination Chamber. I have only a sneaking reservation, and I don't know if anybody else has thought about it or not. What if they don't have Cena win Elimination Chamber? What if they wait to pull the trigger with him winning like a big one until Money in the Bank? Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah. So I've been thinking along those lines too. That I think that this is going to be a little bit of a redemption arc. Because and we touched on it a little bit when we were talking about Charlotte Flair, but Super Cena, right? Like being shoved down our throats for so long. I think that this is kind of has the possibility to be John Cena's love letter to like the IWC. The people who didn't get him, the people who were at his throat, all the fucking time. Does that mean that we get a heel turn? Maybe. Wouldn't shock me. But like I think that this is going to be a redemption story where we're going to be questioning the story is going to make us question whether or not John Cena still has it. And if the Royal Rumble is any indication, it's going to be a grandiose story. That the face that he made, and you touched upon it, Tom, when he got eliminated, was very much on par with when HBK got eliminated that year. I think it was 2009, maybe. I don't know for sure. That was later than that. But like when he got eliminated and he realized he couldn't face the Undertaker at WrestleMania again. And like he tried to go back in and they had to pull him out, and like he was just kind of like bereft. That was the same feeling where Cena's like, oh no, my WrestleMania dream. What's become of you? So I think that the Elimination Chamber is a smart way to go for him, but it would not shock me if he too loses that. And then we get a bigger deal. Well, and I mean, again, in my mind, I feel like he is not in this last run for him. He's doing it, A, for the fans, so that we can give him an honest to God send off, and B, for the younger wrestlers. Again, I think, even though he didn't, quote unquote, put in his dues, he learned, I think, a lot about the business, and I think that he knows that he's got to put some young dudes over. Like he is widely regarded by a lot of people as the greatest of all time. Certainly the greatest of all time that can still wrestle. Some people, old heads might say Hulk Hogan, some people might say Steve Austin. Neither one of those two can have a meaningful match in 2025. So like I think that John Cena can and will. And yeah, I mean, I think, why not have, instead of having a title match with Cody at WrestleMania, why not let that go to somebody else? And instead he can have another match with somebody else young and fresh in the business, like, I don't know, a Logan Paul, for example. You know, much in the same token that he was able to really make Jey Uso a made man at the Rumble. I think that he too could really cement Logan Paul's legacy, or at least the start of his legacy, at WrestleMania. And I'm not saying that John Cena is not going to go over WrestleMania. I think he will. But like, I think that being, and it's the same argument that I made with Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. Like, I think that just being in the ring on that stage would elevate, a guy like Logan Paul. So it would not shock me if that's the route that they go. Again, just because I think that Cena wants to try and do as much good as he can. And he's probably not lobbying for number 17, but like, I'm pretty sure much in the same way that like TK told Bryan Danielson, like, hey, you're winning the title so that we can have you as part of our lineage. I think that TKO, Triple H, I think that all involved have said to Cena, you're winning this title because you deserve it, because you should be the guy in professional wrestling. It's probably not his idea to win it at some point this year, but it definitely needs to happen. SummerSlam, Money in the Bank, I think would be a great time to do that.
So, I want to get each of your guys' thoughts on this. If they don't have Cena win Elimination Chamber and go on to essentially face Cody, because I think we've all but confirmed the writing's kind of on the wall that Jay's going to challenge Gunther, and I'm okay with that. That's fine. But if Cena doesn't win the Elimination Chamber, who would you like to see go against Cody in this year's Mania for the title? Poot, I want to start with you.
Pass in the fair of no. I need a minute. I need a minute to think. Let me. Do you mind if I think? Let me think.
Yeah, go ahead, Ransom.
All right.
I'm sorry. What was your question?
If we don't have Cena win the Chamber, because like the assumption would be like, okay, well, Cena's gonna win the Chamber and main event the other title match at Mania, and assuming Jay's gonna go against Gunther, that leaves Cody. So let's just say, if not Cena, who would you like to see Cody face at Mania for the title? Defending his title.
Kevin Owens, hands down.
Okay.
I think Kevin Owens is deserved of a WrestleMania main event and a title win all at the same time. And honestly, like at this point, I don't know who would be more impactful winning the title off of Cody, because I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think anything is as impactful as Kevin Owens, especially like the story that they've been in. Nah. That's my pick. Okay.
I will jump back in because KO came to mind. I know it might be a little smarky or whatever, or a little markish, but
Okay.
I would not mind seeing Cody versus Punk.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind seeing Punk, even if he doesn't win. I wouldn't mind seeing Punk get his. This is like fantasy booking thing. There's not like deep logic or deep story stuff. I wouldn't mind seeing Punk get his Mania moment, but like I think Beef said it well the other night when we were watching the Rumble, or it was some point during that day, that like Punk has another year on him. Like he still has a little bit of time to get his Mania moment. What I think it will come down, like, I think
Like
if Punk did win the Elimination Chamber, I think they would figure out some way to get Cena in there and make it a triple threat. I think they're going to find some way to work Cena into that match and make it a triple threat. Whoever it is, it's Cody, Cena, and insert whoever here. I really think that's what it's going to be. And I think whoever here is going to be there just for fodder, and also maybe to protect Cena a little bit. He's in good shape, but you know, I know it's just like I said, fantasy booking. Ransom hit the nail on the head with Kevin Owens. I think it would be interesting. It would be a phenomenal match and very well deserved. So excellent points all around there, Ransom.
Sure.
But I think if not saying Kevin Owens, I wouldn't mind seeing Punk in there just for the Mania moment and the grandiose nature of it.
Bubba Ray Dudley.
but Bubba Ray, I would finally like to see Veer Mahan debut at Mania against Cody.
Oh, he's coming. Beef, what do you think, Beef? Who would you slot in there, assuming that it's the chamber match? Assuming the chamber match is going to determine who faces Cody.
Ransom.
Huh?
What do I do in this podcast?
You don't make assumptions, you make predictions.
Close.
Damn it.
I don't make predictions. I make spoilers.
Damn it.
I think that we're gonna see Cena take on Logan Paul at WrestleMania.
You bitch.
Call me crazy. And I don't think that CM Punk could be part of the world title match or the WWE title match. I think that we're gonna get a triple threat match with him, Reigns, and Rollins.
What?
Ergo, yeah. Ergo, we gotta find a match for Cody, right? Kevin Owens makes a lot of sense, except for we're gonna see Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. I loved Ransom's impassioned argument, though. That was a very, very convincing argument. But yeah, we're definitely getting Kevin versus Sami at WrestleMania,
Mother.
and I could be more thrilled. So, then Beef, what's the WWE? Ooh,
Double
title
what?
match.
Oh
heard me.
shit! Worldwide
You heard
Live
me.
Federation title. Pandas with
That's
chairs. Let's
right.
go.
Panda versus Red Panda. No, it's so Cody is going to defend against Drew McIntyre.
Okay.
What?
And Damian Priest.
What?
How do you? Okay, show your work.
So McIntyre is a no-brainer, right? McIntyre's been on the precipice of, getting that spot.
Boy, he
won
whining
last
too.
year. He won last year for 5 minutes and then lost it. To who? Drew McIntyre. Or to Damian Priest.
Drew McIntyre lost to Drew McIntyre.
So
Brett screwed Brett. Damn it.
I think that
Alexander
McIntyre and
Hamilton
Priest are
shot
absolutely
Alexander
headed
Hamilton.
for. I think that Priest and McIntyre are headed for a collision at WrestleMania. And
Wait. Say that again?
I think that McIntyre and Priest are headed for a collision at WrestleMania.
McIntyre and Priest.
Uh-huh. But
Okay.
I think that McIntyre wins the chamber.
Oh, so that's how
Alright.
they get slotted
Alright.
in.
Right. So, again, in my all too early WrestleMania card, I got Gunther, Jey Uso, I got Breaker and Penta, I got Sammy and KO, I got Cena Logan, I got Punk, Rollins, and Roman, and I got Cody, Damian Priest, and Drew McIntyre. And I got Drew McIntyre winning the big one on the big stage.
I think the Drew pick is interesting, assuming that he does end up making the chamber. I know I know one of the first men's qualifying matches. I don't know if they have any announced for SmackDown or not. I know on Raw, as of this recording next week, Raw, it's going to be Punk and Sammy. if I'm not mistaken.
No, Punk's already in.
Oh, was that okay? Sorry. Okay, so I apologize. I did fall asleep watching Raw, and I got my shit all screwed up. So who is it this coming week on Raw that has the qualifier match? It's Logan Paul and Ray, isn't it?
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, sorry. I had my weeks mixed up. My bad.
Yes. Logan versus Paul. Logan versus Paul. Logan versus Ray.
Paul.
And Seth versus Finn.
Logan versus Paul. Razor versus fake Razor. Undertaker versus himself. Dogs versus cats and up and down and all right. So no, I man, as you guys were sitting there thinking about it, it was like, fleshing out the different possibilities. I like KO, that makes sense. I like Punk, that would make sense. I was thinking maybe Drew somewhere along the way in the back of my mind, and I'm glad Beef brought his name into it. I'm not so sure about the triple threat part of it because it feels like it would be forced in. Like I can't remember. There was one of the last PLEs of the calendar year that WWE had. It might have been an NXT one or whatever, something. But I was like, it felt very forced. Like whatever the matchup was, I'd have to go back to see what it was. But Drew does make sense, because he's been very, very passionate about like how, every like he's been on the anti-Roman, anti-bloodline train, and anybody who's remotely been associated with Roman or anybody, he's been like, screw all you all, scorched earth. So that would include Jay, that would include Cody, I mean, even though Seth was against Roman, he's not, he's got no buddy ties with Seth. He hates him too. He hates Punk. Like Drew hates everybody. He's just calling everybody out on their shit, and I'm here for it. But man, I don't know. It's I wouldn't make too bold of predictions before I see how the rest of the Elimination Chamber card fills out. But man, it's all those are really good answers. I don't think you could go wrong any way that you slice it, whether it's any one of your guys' picks.
The only reason I incorporate Damien is because I think that those wheels are already in motion. With Damien eliminating Drew at Royal Rumble, despite the dust up around it, I think that was already kind of in motion.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's probably gonna be Cena. But again, I like to think that Cena's gonna do something different because again, if you look at his last few WrestleMania matches, Solo, right? He faced Solo. Am I making that up? I think I'm making that up. He faced Solo at SummerSlam. I walked that back. But he did face Austin Theory.
Sure did.
At WrestleMania 39.
Yep.
So like he is absolutely kind of punching things up a little bit different right now, and I think that's good. That being said, I kind of selfishly want it to be Cena versus Cody because I think I know that the crowd's not going to turn on Cena, and I feel like the crowd's at the precipice at turning on Cody.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I think that there's nothing more interesting than the man holding a belt with a sudden heel turn.
Man.
So I think that if we could get like that Codelander vibe,
yes,
like this could be the thing to push him into being a bad guy again. And I think that could probably substantiate another 6 to 8 months of a title reign out of him. By being, leaning into the what event? It was Double or Nothing, 2019. I was watching, and that was Cody versus Dustin, and Cody was playing the heel. That was the famous throne breaking incident, where they referred to him as the throne breaker. But like
Okay,
he
yeah.
played the part of the heel, putting the old mare out to
Out to
out to
pasture.
pasture,
Yeah.
and he played it well. So I think that if we could get that I don't want to say psychotic, but like that vicious kind of like silent, but like also vicious side of
Silent
Cody,
but deadly.
I
There it
think
is.
that it. I think that would definitely give him rejuvenate his current run.
If they do decide to go that route, and if they end up turning Cody, heel, and he goes Codelander, I want to see him go back to dye. I want to see him not have his hair dyed blonde. I want to see him go back to being a brunette again, and like coming out in the leather jacket, kind of looking like the Leon Kennedy-esque Resident Evil 4 jacket that he had, like whenever he did his TNA run before. I want to see that.
Mm-hmm. I'm on the other side of that, Tom. I want him to keep wearing suits. I want him to keep the Max Headroom hair. I just want, like Beef said, that demeanor change.
Yeah.
I want that psychopath like Cody. I want that like kind of self-centered, arrogant, like just shitty Cody. That's best Cody.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey,
go ahead.
Was the backstage freak out by Drew that was reported, was that legit? Did anybody know that happened?
Yeah, so everything that I've read, because I kept up on that, because I'm like, maybe they're kayfabing it, like maybe they're trying to like stir the pot and like build a thing for Drew and build a program for him and whatever. But apparently, from everything that I've seen, and Beef, correct me on this if I'm wrong, everything that I've seen, Drew actually was pissed off because his elimination was kind of sudden, and it wasn't like keynote and highlighted. It just kind of was like it happened, and I guess it's because of timing things. And Drew said it's because someone was trying to get their shit in. This ref was trying to fuck on me kind of vibe. It was like a timing problem.
He's trying to fuck
on
me.
they didn't have a person that like they could kind of tie it to, and then it kind of like was the consensus that it was LA Knight.
Oh,
like I guess there was like it was LA Knight. He like wanted to get his like spots in, his moves in, etc. And it was apparently LA Knight. I guess
You're close. You're right on top of it though, as far as it being legit shoot. I thought it was a work a little bit at first, but it's not. It sounds like it's a shoot. It is about LA Knight. If you go back and watch, so the big thing is that it wasn't. Drew's elimination by Damian Priest was very clearly supposed to be the start of something, or really the continuation of what had happened last year at WrestleMania. But what happened is because the Royal Rumble, and I mean this is a little bit on Drew for being kind of like a prick about things. It's the Royal Rumble. There are fucking bodies everywhere. Like I believe it was LA Knight and I think Logan Paul. I'm not 100%. That basically kind of like interfered with the elimination of McIntyre. It got a little bit dusty because they kind of got in the way, and thus the elimination of McIntyre was very much kind of like almost a lost in the shuffle. So much to the point that like Wade Barrett had to like scream like, "Oh my God, McIntyre's eliminated!" Like making a big deal. Like, hey, if you blinked, you would have missed it, and if you would have blinked, you would have missed it. And I don't know that that's all on LA Knight. I mean, yes, LA Knight and whomever it was were in the wrong spot. Like, look, going back watching it, you can see that they're in the wrong spot at the wrong time. But like, also, it felt like production had no idea that elimination was going down either. So, unless it was an accidental elimination, which is possible, it just seemed like everybody was just like not ready for the elimination to happen. But yeah, it's because LA Knight got in the way, and apparently that some other people in the Rumble felt the same way, that like LA Knight kind of felt like he was kind of going into business for himself out there. In that he wanted to get his his spots. That's not necessarily his like moves, but like his big spots in. And it kind of took away from the Rumble at that point.
Okay, so
yeah, that's not good for LA Knight if a lot of people were talking about that.
No, definitely not.
Well, I mean, the shine's already kind of coming off of him anyway. Like, I hate to say that, but like,
yeah,
he still gets a reaction when he comes out. He still gets a reaction when he comes out, but it's not the entire crowd's behind him kind of stuff. It's, when the LA used to hit, the crowd exploded. Now it's like, oh, okay, we like this guy, we remember this guy, and
yes,
that was the problem. That was the problem, man. They didn't pull the trigger on him. Like I'm not sitting here going, he should have the world title. He should. I'm like, it just it just kind of. But like, and then adding this on top of it, plus his age and everything. I don't know.
Well, so
no,
you're not wrong, Poot. But to that point, it's one of those cases too where like there's. I hate to like sound like the like old head WWE, way of the old machine or whatever, but like, would he have been best for business in the short term? Yeah, no pun intended. Yeah. But when you strip away the catchphrase, like, how much more is there to him than that? Like, how many layers deep does his character go? And one could make the same argument for Jey Uso with the whole yeet stuff, but with Jey there's a little bit more depth because we've seen him for such a long time as a tag team guy, and so there is like that adversity of him breaking out as a single star and stuff like that. So like, there's we've seen layers to him. We know that there's more depth than just yeet, That would be my only arguing point of like, well, why they didn't pull the trigger on him. But now knowing all that, like, if that's the case, if it was because of LA Knight and Logan Paul, that doesn't bode well for him. So wouldn't be surprised if we don't see LA Knight at WrestleMania, or if he's relegated to like the fucking pre-show Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And two, if that freak out of Drew's was legit, I don't know how well that bodes for him and the possibility of having, getting in that title picture or anything like that, or being the one to win Chamber, if he, got such a hot head over it and didn't, try to handle it a little bit more smoothly. You know what I mean? Like, so it's that could really shake things up.
I mean,
it could.
Have you met Drew McIntyre?
Yeah.
This is kind of what they expect from him. He's a fucking hot-headed Scot, man. Like,
he's the Randy Orton.
Nothing.
Hey,
I'm just saying.
Nothing you can say.
Hey, I'm one of them now.
WWE has a history of hot-headed Scots.
Hey,
and
it tracks.
You're appropriating my new founded people.
Oh shit.
I'm sorry that you feel appropriated. But like,
Hey!
That's not appropriate.
Shut up, everybody. But like
Hot-headed Scott, you fucko.
here's the thing. I think that they can easily parlay this into like another fucking like
Parlay.
parlay. And like,
Pirate speak.
I can
Strawberry parlay.
I can speak it. I don't understand it.
Thank you. I was looking for that quote last time whenever we said that beef.
But I think they can absolutely parlay this into another fucking work shoot with him. Yeah, I don't think McIntyre's a bad guy here. Unprofessional, maybe. The bad guy, no. I think that again, I don't think there's a bad guy in this. I think it's just a shitty situation. But also, again, it's the fucking Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So, like, expect that there are going to be bodies everywhere, and you just gotta have to fucking deal with it.
Right.
Bodies.
Hey, do we? I don't want to like completely just like shut this down because we've been going for a while here. But I don't know how much. I don't know how much more Rumble talk there is. But do we have any stump the champs, stump the chumps, whatever, however you want to call it? I think we're champs again at this point. We do. Okay.
If we if everybody's into it, we can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See.
Uh-oh.
It's from our buddy the mid-card once again.
Oh.
Oh no, I deleted it. Undo.
Out. You're fired.
Out am I?
Out am I? Who has
It's out. It's out. His eye is out.
Who has the most cumulative eliminations in the Elimination Chamber for both male and female?
Cumulative.
Cumulative?
Explain it to me like I'm 5.
Well, not consecutive. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, cumulative total.
What color is it? Not blue. What?
Well, you wouldn't know anyways. It's fine.
Fucker.
Yeah, I don't.
Tell me when I'm telling lies, Ransom.
I don't think that word means
What do you think it means?
But I think what he's going for is the total eliminations. Whenever I think cumulative, I think of like holding like one after the next after the next after the next. I don't think that that's what he's talking about. I think he's talking about
total.
The
total.
Most number of eliminations.
Mm-hmm. I would throw Randy Orton in there in the discussion. If we're gonna start throwing names into a hat, I would throw.
Sometimes I wear a hat.
I would throw Orton in there for sure.
Cena and Triple H absolutely are two that come to mind. And I know that it's been a hot minute since they've been in there, but I think that also should speak to their dominance.
Trying to think of Elimination Chamber was never my favorite event, so I'm kind of. I'm
trying to think who's.
I'm kind of a little nah.
I'm trying to think who's been in the most chamber matches, because
probably Cena or Triple. I mean, Orton maybe, but probably Cena Triple H again. Honestly, like,
Jeez.
Man, I could have swore I heard a stat last year about the women's, but I'm not 100%.
I'm with you on that one. No, I'm with you on that one.
I want to say it was Asuka, maybe.
What? Are you sure you're not thinking Rumble?
I mean, Asuka won the first Women's Rumble. That has nothing to do with anything. She doesn't own any other record in the Rumble.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you got to cough to get off, buddy.
Turn your head and cough.
Because Charlotte Flair is out of the discussion because I don't think that if she's been in one, it's been maybe one, because she's always been either a champion or won the Rumble at WrestleMania. So I think that we're looking at the other side of the bracket, and again on that side, I think it's Asuka's been in been in elimination chamber quite a few times. I think she's had quite a few eliminations. So I think Asuka for the women. Again, I'm not 100% on that. This is actually a great question. In terms of the men, again, like I can't think of anything that's like
For the men,
like
for the
I
men, it's
can't think of.
100% Jericho.
You think?
All of the different elimination chambers that he's been in, plus I can remember watching a few elimination chambers where Jericho had a wide array of sneaky eliminations. Like someone would give someone a finisher and then Jericho would roll that guy up. Or I don't know. I can't remember. I can't form into words at this point because
I mean, honestly, usually your sixth sense has a way of things. So if you think it's Jericho, I'll go with.
Well, I mean, think about all the different.
Was Cena.
Yeah.
But I feel like he wouldn't ask this question if it was like Cena, Triple H, like the big golden shovel holders. You know what I mean?
Fair.
We got to take that into consideration.
So my thing is these are all people who would have been involved in them a decade ago, and I mean it's not like the elimination chamber just disappeared for a decade.
No, but
can't think of anything of anything or anybody that's been dominant. And honestly, gun to my head, I couldn't tell you last year's lineup, the year before, the year before that. Elimination chamber has been very forgettable. The only thing I remember about last year was 2 years ago was Sammy and Roman.
I was gonna say last year.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, obviously.
That's what I'm saying about Elimination Chamber for me personally. Is that it's always like you said, Beef. It's very forgettable. It's a cool event. It's a cool idea. It's a cool match. But
I'm I always enjoy it when I'm watching it. It's just not something that it's not a Royal Rumble that I'll watch every year. It's not a WrestleMania that I'll watch every year. It's not a SummerSlam that I'll watch the lead ups to. I'm not that terribly involved with Elimination Chamber.
Well, damn it, why not?
And we have to remember that it was also part of a SummerSlam card and other events, not just the Elimination Chamber event. So
I was gonna say it was part of New Year's Revolution for a while there when they did that. But so there's a name that came to mind for the women's side at least. When you first started bringing up all the names on the men's side, I think Triple H is probably the safest pick out of all the names that everybody was throwing around. I just think I feel like he wants us to overthink it. I think maybe he thinks we'll get the men's and not the women's. The women's, I want to say.
Does he ask him for the women's?
I think he asked for one of each, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh well.
I want to say
the most cumulative eliminations in the Elimination Chamber for both male and female.
So for the women's, for some reason, I want to say Shayna Baszler's name because when Beef said something about how there was a stat thrown out for Elimination Chamber, either I don't know when it was. I feel like they said something about it not long ago, which seems weird because coming up to the Rumble and all, but it is still part of that. It's now for a while been that part of the road to WrestleMania, and I want to say Shayna for some reason. I don't know why. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she won the most chambers because that's not the question, but just the most number of eliminations. And I feel like there was that period of time where you could say Shayna or maybe possibly argue Asuka. I don't know how many chambers she's been in, but I feel like Shayna's been in a good handful of them, and she's usually, had a number of eliminations, before unceremoniously getting, fucking shoved back into the upper mid card is obscurity. So
well, she also is historically in any like she is a heavy hitter, even though like she doesn't win a lot, and it's like she is like that's believable.
Believable.
Yeah, no, I would concede Shayna. That's probably.
but I could go. I mean, honestly, I could see. Man, I could see either Jericho or Triple H. It's hard for me to.
Yeah. I think so. Here's where I fall on that. Ransom's preclusions are never usually wrong, and like he watches a lot of like the old stuff,
Yeah.
and like it's in the background, but like that still kind of embeds itself.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not wrong. Jericho was in a ton of chambers. So
I mean, I'd be willing to go with that. I'd be willing to go with Jericho. I would try. I'll trust Ransom on this one. I know he's gonna sit there going, "Oh, don't trust me," with a mouthful of Oreos.
No, he actually sounded very confident.
No, I was
when
gonna say
said
he would make that self-deprecating remark about himself, like, "Don't trust me," with the, what the fuck do I know? Look at the pics of bing bang bong.
When he hits a bullseye most of the time.
But when it comes to the trivia, man, Ransom's usually got a fucking a pretty solid track record as hitting this shit dead on. I'd be willing to go with Jericho. For the women, I don't know. I got a feeling on Shayna. I don't know what other names I could really think of. Like, I don't know.
And again, I have definitely had like times where I've gone against the grain and I've been wrong. So until that spins around and like I've been right, I'm right whenever you guys have been wrong. I'm not going to like fight the current. So like I'm fine with saying Jericho and Shayna.
I'm good
Jaina.
with that. Yeah, Jaina.
Something different.
All right, well let's find out.
Jinkies.
Beef, how dare you use patio Shannon on me? I did it, brother.
Brother.
On the male side, Chris Jericho with 10, and on the female, Shayna Baszler with 7.
Wow.
Dang.
Damn, Gina.
Good job, guys.
We're fucking hot. We are on a streak, which is good news for us, bad news for Pat because he keeps losing. Oh, dearie me. Speaking of losing, I'll just throw these in here now. And I know I said I wasn't going to do them at the end, but I forgot all about them until now. So, I gotta find them here. But before I give the people what they want, currently leading the Chooseweight standings in quarter 1, 21-25 is Poot the Barb with 14. Wrap it up, fuzzball. You know you're gonna get weird with it, and I'm gonna just jump right back up there.
Don't get weird with it, man.
Yeah, girl, get it.
Dave has 13. Me, your Tribal Beef and Tom and Pat all have 12, and Ransom, Scuba, and Amber all have 9.
King of the Jungle is
fucking
up on your heels.
What that means is that we're all very close. It's been one event. We are. Even Scoob has like made something of himself here.
Something of himself.
And
he's
Scoob,
made
we love you.
something.
We love you here. You know we do, but your picks aren't always that strong. But this time they were, my man. The real story is Amber just not doing so hot out the gate.
Maybe Amber actually
that-
picked this time.
That said, lots of we got I think we have 2 events next week we're picking. I don't know. I don't remember. So,
Next week.
Yeah, we have Vengeance Day and Grand Slam coming up on Saturday of next
Golly
week.
boogles.
So I'd say what better time to start picking. Anyway, that's where we are currently. But that's all to say that, Pat, is that you continue to lose at both the Cruiserweight Championship and your college football team and Stump the Chumps and, whatever else there may be. Don't sing it, bring it, brother. Because once again, you've lost and you lose again, sir. And you
What does he get?
get nothing.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, if he gets so dejected that he doesn't send in another Stump the Champs here for next week or whenever we have the opportunity to do these, I know it's since passed, but I'll have a I have a good Rumble, a quick Rumble question for you guys, for the three of you.
Well, that's a superpower, Tom. He's I can't. I can't. Not even I can stoop to that. Pat, we appreciate you always sending questions. Please keep doing that.
Jeez.
Hoot! Wrap it up.
It's the Rumble season. It was great. We're on the road to WrestleMania, boys. Make sure we're gonna stop here and we're gonna have a pee. All right, we're gonna have a pee early on. If anyone has pee, you pee now on the road to WrestleMania because we're not stopping until after Elimination Chamber. All right, make sure go in there. Also get a drink. Maybe get a couple snackies. Not too big of a drink because we're not stopping to pee on the road to WrestleMania. Okay, you're gonna have to hold it. After Elimination Chamber, after that,
Are we there yet?
The Rumble.
Are we there yet?
You're gonna have to hold it the whole way.
Are we there yet?
Tom,
Are we there yet?
Tom, I will put you in timeout in the back of this wood paneled van. This wood paneled podcast. Go play in the back with your brother Ransom. All right.
Ransom's touching me.
There's no super. Beef, hold them down. Stick their heads out the window so they smack their heads on stop signs on the road to WrestleMania, which we're not peeing on. Thank you to all the sponsors and everything and all that. Make sure to follow us, listen to us, do all the things. Oh, now I gotta pee.